Alright, the RX7 is moving into its new home, settling in quite nicely. As you can see, I removed the driver's door because it was definitely worth the effort. It really wasn't too bad. I had one connector that I had to undo that snakes through here, and undo 6 bolts. That were no problem. And the door is pretty heavy. Brought it inside the house. Also took this off just because I wanted to inspect in here and see what's going on with the drain holes and stuff. So yeah, got it jacked up. I really took my time jacking this up. Those ones aren't doing anything. So we have, it's on 4 right now. So 2 that are on the rear frame and 2 that are on the front subframe. So it's nice and high off the ground. I'm not worried about it falling on me and killing me. And right now, what we're working on, just because I feel like it, and I'd like to order new calipers sooner than later if I have to, which I probably do, but I need to inspect what's going on first. We're starting to barely make progress on moving this guy. You see that lip? That is the result of, like, furious smashing. So I started off with a piece of metal in between the hammer and this, and I was trying to figure out ways to hold it there, and anything involving my hand just hurts like hell because it vibrates like shit. So I gave it a couple hearty whacks, and I think I might just accept the fact that if this caliper is ever going to work again, it's gonna get the whack, and I can make it look better if we need to. It's pretty thick metal. I can shave that down if I need to. So we're gonna whack the bejesus out of this. At first, doing stuff like this really pissed me off whenever I started learning how to do automotive stuff, but you just gotta see it as a challenge. Especially when you live in the Rust Belt, nothing is out of the realm of possible. Sometimes things just aren't salvageable and are fused together, and you just gotta deal with it. That being said, let's deal with it. Holy, it's coming. So that bought us a couple millimeters. Now that we've got that over far enough to get the vise grips in here, I'm going to try and clamp the vise grips on there really hard and see if we can start freeing it up a little bit, because I do not enjoy having to do this to it. Also, this thread here is loose, and me smashing it with the hammer is not, I'm sure it doesn't appreciate that. So we're going to see if we can switch our tactic a little bit. Oh, Jesus Christ. We're trying to unscrew it like this, which is, that might be the most excruciating bolt that I've ever had to unscrew, would be this. Oh. It's good to have new experiences in life, even if they're terrible sometimes. Builds character. Alright, we're going that much at a time. I don't think this threads in very much. Ooh, probably about the same as that. Decent amount of thread. Well, I should probably turn the time lapse on. now it is free enough that I can actually use a crescent wrench, because before it was just slipping on it. And it's taking quite a bit of force still, but I'm almost at the end of this thread, and it's... Oh, never mind. Never mind. I was about to say, it's going to be scary whenever this thread finally comes out all the way, because I'm yanking down on this hard and it's going to go flying, but that didn't happen. Alright, I need to get the fluid container, because I'm going to go take this inside and we're going to inspect what we're working with. I don't even want to think about how hot that is. Good news! I was able to find new or remanufactured calipers, left and right. I was worried that I was only going to be able to find the left side, which is the side that's more messed up, but I wasn't thrilled about the idea of running them mismatched if I didn't have to. So I found one that was on Parts Avatar for a pretty good price, and they didn't have the other one, but then on Rock Auto, I was looking on there yesterday, and they had absolutely none in stock, so I was kind of annoyed about that. And then I just happened to look again today, and they have new listings in stock. So I immediately ordered the right side. So we should have some new calipers to slap on this thing. So I don't even need to think about starting to tear this thing apart. This thing's junk. So what I think I'm going to do today is take the other caliper off. Shouldn't be a problem. I know that it's at least sliding, unlike this one, because it stopped the car the other day. And yeah, I'm going to take that thing off and see what we feel like doing next. See? That's how it's supposed to be. About that hard. So remember when I said I was sure that they did front bearings on the other side? Well, I just popped this cap off. It was just a bit of a friction fit, as I figured. And there's like brand new grease in here. So that is confirmed. This thing has new bearings in the front. It has to. And also, I think that these rotors are new as well. They're just rusty. So I'm going to investigate and see how bad this pitting is, because this could be, like, I'm not trying to do any work that I don't need to. Even though I ordered new ones of these, I do not feel inclined to install them if these are completely serviceable. Now, if they're ugly and pitted and I can't really make them even look nice, then we'll do the job. But given the state of that, I have really no reason to take this apart. New calipers for sure, new brake pads, but do these rotors really need to be replaced? Okay, so I've stared at this rotor for like 20 minutes and I've decided what I want to do. So there's too much pitting to realistically get rid of and have these be in nice shape. So I am going to replace these with the ones that I have, but since we are a one-man band and labor is the most in-demand resource for this entire thing, this is going to get shoved onto the back burner. So, like, back burner, like, past the point where I start driving the car around. So, I'm going to run it with the new caliper, and new pads, and the pads are probably going to be sacrificial because I don't know if this is really going to wear away properly. But I'll drive it around for like a month or two, and then whenever I feel like working on this again and spending a weekend hauling away at the slide hammer and stuff, I'll replace the front rotors and bearings and stuff on this. But given that this is going to function for sure, it's just kind of rusty. So we will be doing this just after, you know, the floor and all the other major items, after like the exterior bodywork and stuff. So that is our plan. Alright, we gotta keep going on the floor. So this is the next thing that I would like to figure out, and I've been putting it off because it's a pain in the ass, honestly. Because this side is nice and 90 degrees and straight, but over here we have to deal with this angle, and then this 45, and then this additional 25. So I just marked along the floor where it needs to go, and it's kind of easy to know because there is a thing. This thing supports the floor right there, and it also supports the frame rail, like directly. So I got down here, drilled those holes, and then along the sides of those holes, I painstakingly figured these out, referencing this side to make sure that they were nice and straight. So, since you last saw this thing, if you've been closely keeping up with the series, I just cut this kind of somewhat closer so I could start making sure that I wasn't totally out to lunch. So we now have it like this. So I've marked where the 45, like after this 45 degree up incline thing ends. I've marked it there, and on the other side as well. And also measured along the floor how long it is before the 45 starts. So knowing all of that information, I'm going to go inside and do some stuff to this thing, and hopefully it will be close enough that we can work with it. Because what needs to... the important geometry that needs to exist here is this. This is the only remaining support for the driver's floor. There was this one. There was one over here that, you know, this area was wrecked, and this area was wrecked. So, actually, I have the frame rails in here. Not the frame rails, the seat rails. So what we're going to do is we're going to bolt that in. Well, actually, I haven't really checked this yet. Does this add up? Does this make sense? Yes, that absolutely. I would absolutely buy that. So this is going to go in here like this. We're going to get it a lot closer than that. And we're not going to weld it in or anything. Then we're going to bolt this in. And then we're going to mark a hole on here where it needs to go. And we have another piece inside that needs a little bit more welding, but it's pretty much done, that we're going to put here, and we're going to do the same thing with this rail. And if we bolt all of the seat rails up and everything looks all nice and straight, then we know that, you know, the seat rails are going to bolt up because they were there whenever we welded it. So that is our plan of attack. This is what we have done. It looks nice, but does it fit? It can look as nice as it wants, but if it's off by enough to make it not weldable, then it's no good. So, moment of truth. Let's take it over to the car. Alright, initial thoughts. Not insanely off, but not spot on either. So that clearly is a little bit too aggressive, but everything's pretty much in the right place. So really, this just, I'll mark it. Really want it to bend more like something like that, maybe. Maybe a little less. That might be a bit aggressive. It's Friday. Welcome to my mess. So we got a couple things going on. We need to weld in some nuts behind these holes. And the reason that there are two holes on this side instead of one is a secret, and that is upcoming in a future video. So one of these is for the RX7 seat. Maybe that's even saying too much. But one of these is for another type of seat. I'll say that much. So we need to get another hole in this thing. This thing also needs some supporting welds thrown into the corners there. So that's one thing that we got going on. Another thing we got going on is this tool for flaring brake line is a piece of junk, and I hate it. This is the second one that I've got from Princess Auto, and the way that this one, so my first one failed because these threads, after I used it enough times, completely stripped out and were just destroyed, and the tool wasn't usable anymore. And this time, the teeth that are inside this thing for clamping onto the line are worn out on the 3/16, which is the actual only size that I really need to be doing flares. So whenever you put the tube in there and you start applying pressure on the tube slides out the other side, and it's infuriating. So I tried throwing some tin foil in there to make up the extra space, but it was fruitless. So I got this tool, which was 70 bucks, and it seems to be a lot more skookum, like significantly. Haven't used it yet, but the idea with this one is it is a block, and you stick the tube in straight. So I actually had to unbend this section, because you need a little bit more straight section before it gets clamped down on, compared to this. So before it was like a centimeter and a bit, now it's like an inch. So that's a small limitation, but if it actually works, then I don't care. So step one is you insert the brake line, and you put this positioning thing in there, which only allows the brake line to go in so far. And then you clamp down on these things, which I haven't done yet because the 10 mil is out by the car, so I'm going to go get it. Alright, let's see if this thing has reduced suck factor. Bolt in there, tube down as far as it'll go. And it has this thing that is a double ender. So this tool only does one size. That's okay, because we only need to do one size. So, op 1. And that's op 1. That's op 2. So we're going to drive that into it. And it came with some special dye lubricant. So we're going to use it. There's nothing. Should I loop up the threads? Doesn't say to. Okay, so I'll probably get a ratchet. All my stuff is out in the car right now, which kind of sucks. I doubt it's a 14, is it? No, it's probably a 17. Okay, that felt too easy, but that could possibly be because the tool that I was using before is a piece of junk. It's promising. That looks promising in there. I'm not going to try and show it on camera. I'll show you when it's done. You could easily do this underneath the car. This wouldn't be bad. Provided this works. You can hear my skepticism. Some grease in there still, but I think that was money well spent on that guy. I'm going to see if I can return the other one. I returned the first one. I don't see why they wouldn't. They have a pretty dang good return policy, especially in situations like that where it doesn't friggin' work. Get that grease out of there. Yeah, that's clean. Okay, so after that bout of work, we're pretty much ready to weld these in. Got a bunch of holes drilled. I had to do some welding in there to make this more structurally sound. I accidentally blew through it, so I actually recovered from it not too bad. And yeah, this stuff will look nice whenever it's all covered with paint. For each one of these nuts, I did 3 welds. Figured that was sufficient. Ow, I just whacked my head off that. I'm surprised I haven't done that yet. Ow! So that's that. Turn going to keep assembling our Lego set that we've made for ourselves here. That goes like that. And this is going to go over here. Like that. And then we have a choice of bolt hole. We can do that one, or we can do that one. And we can do that one, or we can do that one. Adaptable. So right now, I'm just gonna pick one. Let's do this one. Oh God, that scared me. Geometry is not perfect. The nice thing about welding is you just have to hold it there for a second and then zap it with the welder, melt it, and then it'll stay there. Maybe we'll evaluate this after we weld this in and it's final. Those things are still moving around. It's raining pretty hard outside and we don't care. This shelter's working out great. This is a perfect first step towards owning a garage. Another positive things, this clamp is one of my favorite tools ever. There have been a couple of times where I've wondered, could I clamp that with this? Like, will it get around it? And most of the time it will. Thing's freaking awesome. So like for holding this down against the metal closer, like I was just like, I wonder, can I like shove it around this and clamp it down? Yeah, you can. Love this thing. $50 well spent. We have completed the welding procedure. This is an exciting moment for me. all this stuff out of here. I want to see my beautiful seat rail area in all of its glory. Looking pretty good. Everything looks straight. Pretty much ready to accept a seat. But we got a lot of painting and cleaning to do before that can happen. Also, that's still a project.